Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Today I am here with Ottavia. Is that how you pronounce your name?
Ottavia, yeah.
Ottavia, and the last name?
Paluch.
Paluch.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Where are you from?
I'm from Mississauga. I was born in Ottawa.
Yeah.
Which is how I got my name, actually.
Okay. Oh,
So,
yeah, nice.
Yeah, that's my parents were quirky. So.
Yeah.
It's weird because, like, I'll meet kids who are so much smarter than me. They'll often tell me, like, I want to be a lawyer, this and that. And I have no dreams of being a lawyer. I could not get myself to lie professionally.
I was heartbroken. The Matthews did not reach 70 goals.
It's the most Leafs thing ever. Like, this was my dream school growing up. Like, I cried when I got into U of T.
Yeah.
I know that sounds ridiculous now. If I knew what I know now, I don't know if I would come here. I'd probably go to what is that saying? If you can hold a fork, you can go to York. I feel like I'm the only Swiftie left who can tolerate being around people who don't like Taylor Swift. I think if you don't like her, that's okay. You can like whoever you want to like. Olivia Rodrigo rules. Sabrina Carpenter is great. You know, like, there's so much great stuff happening in pop music right now. Girls? They're hard to crack, man.
What?
We are difficult. We're more mysterious. I keep being friends with, like, nerdy guys. I don't know why, but I guess they just seem to like that I'm a nerd too. Humor has saved my freaking life. The only reason I'm talking to you today is because I realized that people like it when you're likable. People like it when you're funny.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the VoV podcast, Voices of Vic. Today I am here with Ottavia. Is that how you pronounce your name?
Ottavia, yeah.
Ottavia, and the last name?
Paluch.
Paluch.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Where are you from?
I'm from Mississauga. I was born in Ottawa.
Yeah.
Which is how I got my name, actually.
Okay. Oh,
So,
yeah, nice.
Yeah, that's my parents were quirky. So.
Yeah, that's cool. I never would have guessed that. Paluch. Is Paluch a Canadian
No, my
name?
parents are Polish immigrants, and Paluch is Polish. In Polish, Paluch means big toe.
Big
so
toe.
Now you know.
There you go.
Yeah,
What a
there's the
name.
lore.
What a name. Maybe the most unique name that
Yeah.
we've had on the podcast, but I think that'll be cool. Second year,
Yes.
English student.
Yes.
Has it been stressful? Is it a lot of reading? Is it a lot of writing?
Oh
What
my
do you
God,
got?
yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, it's weird because, like, I'll meet kids who are so much smarter than me.
Yep.
And they'll often tell me, like, I want to be a lawyer, this and that. And I have no dreams of being a lawyer.
Yeah.
I could not get myself to lie professionally 8 hours straight. You know?
Yeah.
And then, like, I'll have kids, like, the diversity of what people read outside of class is so different from, like, what is actually being taught.
Right.
Like, I don't know anybody who's reading Middlemarch in their spare time. You know
Mm.
what I mean? Unless it was for class. A lot of folks will tell me, actually, like, that they're really into, like, historical fiction and, oh, you know, I wish I was around in the 1300s. No, you don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
You had negative rights back then.
Yeah. It's a complete, that's fair. You tend to, I sometimes fall for it, maybe not as far back as the 1300s, but I definitely romanticize the past, you know what I mean? Just, it's easy to look at the world now and be like, you know, be nitpicky about some little things, but if you were living back then, I'm sure the people then were also nitpicky about stuff.
Oh my God.
It's good to just kind of appreciate where we are now, and, you know, sometimes the best way to appreciate the present is to maybe be scared of the future, which I don't recommend as a mindset in general. But, like, just with AI, for example, when you go into a Subway and you're ordering a sub, not like the transport
Thank
Subway,
God,
just
yeah.
like the sandwich shop. When you go in and you talk to the guy who's making your sandwich, it's better to appreciate that, to be like, I like talking to this guy because in 10 years he might be a robot. So, you know what I mean? In 10 years, he might not be working here. It might be some AI thing. So,
Are you worried about that? Like, for me, being an English major, like, I'm thinking constantly about, like, how AI is going to take all of my jobs.
yeah. I think every single, there was a phase in this podcast where I would ask every guest, no matter what program they were, what do you think about AI? What do you think about it? I
That's
don't
like
know.
the most pressing issue of our time.
I agree. And I think that I was scaring the guests. I didn't want to, you know, make them too uncomfortable because they always said the same thing about it's going to take my job. So,
You know, I'll give you this. I, like, remain really stubborn about, like, the power words have still,
Yep.
and that, like, their need for them to sound human. You
Right.
know, like, I think right now, I mean, obviously AI is going to improve and get better, and, like, we're not going to be able to distinguish one day what a human wrote and what AI wrote, I'm sure. But for now, like, I think we got to, like, push for, like, the humanity in language.
Yep.
You know, it's so important. And, like, you know, AI can't write jokes.
right.
I can. I'm great. But, you know, it is troubling, but I think we have to stay positive.
Yeah.
Maybe that's wishful thinking, but that's just me. Maybe I'm just, I don't know. I I think, because words have been very important to me,
Yeah.
as they have been to others, you know, to think that a computer can just take away that joy from us is very troubling.
100%. There's so many skill sets that different people spend so much time acquiring, and to think that the computer science guys have made something that just destroys all of that, you know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting. I don't think it's going to be as big of a deal in our lifetime. Maybe our kids will need to worry about it.
Thank you for telling me that.
Yeah.
That gives me hope.
Yeah,
Thank you.
100%. So, but as you're saying, AI and distinguishing between human writing and I guess robotic writing, you write a lot. I was looking at your blog, or not a blog, but like you post your writings on a website.
No, I did not think you were going to bring this up. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it.
I didn't look too deep into it. I was just wondering what all that was about. Is that like...
So what are you referring to specifically? Because there's too much of my name on the internet.
Okay, so it was a website. I
Okay.
think it was in purple was the
Yes,
theme color.
yes.
Yeah. Okay, and that you had like, I don't know if it was government documents that you contributed to, or like these kind of writings. I didn't read too many of them, but I just wanted to ask more.
You went
about
deep.
that. Yeah,
Maybe you weren't intending to, but you went there.
I do my work. I do my research.
So the government stuff. So when I was in high school, I was a what are they called? A policy and research analyst for the Federation of Canadian Secondary Students.
Okay.
Which is a really fancy way of saying that they made me write about stuff that I was not qualified to write about. And what was really cool about that job in particular was volunteer. Everybody's volunteer. It's a completely nonpartisan organization. They represent the needs of secondary students across Canada.
Got it.
Which I think is sick. Because like those kids, they need a voice, man. Nobody's listening to the kids.
Right.
But what's really cool about that, as I was saying, is we had the opportunity to write what is it called? A consultation brief or something, which basically when you tell the government what you want to see in the election. And so we were focusing on like education issues in the budget at the time. And then the Ontario government got to look at them. Did they take anything we said and used it? I have no idea, because the budget is like 15 gazillion pages long.
Yeah.
And who's reading that, Carter?
Right. Absolutely.
We should get an AI to summarize that.
Yeah, that's smart. My mom emailed me a nice summary. She didn't read the whole thing, obviously, but I think that there are people out there who do read it and provide these summaries. So thank goodness for that. But
Oh my God. They're doing the Lord's work, man.
Absolutely. Talk to me more about your work with that. Is it a club? What do you call it?
Oh, so that was in high school. So I was there for like less than a year.
Okay.
But I've done I think volunteering has become very important to me.
Yeah.
Because it was a way to get out of my comfort zone and just do stuff that I wouldn't have otherwise done in my room alone, writing poems at home.
Fair.
So I was a director of content with Ake Movement, which is a arts nonprofit in my hometown, Mississauga, and they do like arts programming for youth. And that was cool because like I got to meet all these cool kids, and like I had to see a poetry slam, and that was really exciting. I was making jokes about the judges. It was so fun, Carter.
Yeah.
What else happened? I mean, we'll get to the new majority stuff in a second, I'm sure, but
Yeah.
I think that aspect of my life has become very important to me in such a really short span of time.
Yeah.
I think I'd be a completely different person if I wasn't stepping outside of what I was comfortable with and taking on these roles and director positions that I didn't feel qualified for.
Yeah.
Like, always shoot your shot, is what I've learned. Like, so much has happened with just me, like, sending an email or reaching out to somebody or one of my friends and saying, hey, do you know about this? Do you think I can help you out with this? And from that, like, so much opportunity has stemmed out of that.
Yeah. That's awesome. What got you initially interested in like climate stuff? It's because it's climate related to most of the work you are doing?
Yeah, so the unique thing about this campaign in particular was it was like their New Majority's first like issue-based campaign.
Yeah.
Normally, all their stuff is like elections,
Okay.
getting young people to vote and doing it in a nonpartisan way. So this was a really unique thing that I had the great fortune of being a part of. I wasn't interested in climate initially. I had a friend who I was working with at Ink Movement, and she was like, hey, I work for this organization. We're doing an event at this and that. Can you read a poem? I know you write poems. I hear they're good. I'm like, no, they're not, but thanks. And I was like, okay, sure, climate change, whatever. Like, we're all going to die. It didn't really matter that much to me. And then I was in that room, Carter, and it was all these young people my age, couple older, whatever. and they're all so passionate about like creating change in their own small and powerful little ways.
Yeah.
And I was like, I have to be a part of this. Like,
That's
this is a
awesome.
movement right here. And I asked my boss, Jared Klein, our national organizer, who is just the most phenomenal human being ever. And I asked him, hey, can I join? And he was like, dude, of course, you'd be great. And it's taken me to places far beyond what I could have ever anticipated.
That's awesome. That's really cool. So I want you to talk a bit more about what about specifically climate change has gotten you interested in this work. You said that it was the kids and they were passionate about making their small changes and all these types of things. I feel like there's a lot of people in our generation definitely support this movement, but a lot of them not that aren't against it, but maybe just don't know enough about it. And they feel like maybe they don't understand, and maybe they just don't see the point with something that is definitely a future issue. This is a thing that's going to, like we say, affect the world coming down the line. Maybe they just don't think it's as important now. So what do you think about that kind of stance? Like, what would you say to those people, maybe to help them get a deeper understanding or knowledge about it?
I hold it sometimes too.
Yeah.
I think it's very easy these days to get cynical and to fall into the trap of thinking there's nothing we can do to fix the biggest issues of our time. I know you did that podcast with Ape.
Yeah.
Who watch it. It's great. Because I was doing some research to get on the show.
Thank you.
No, what was I saying? Yeah, so it's really like easy just to fall into that trap of just saying, this isn't going to affect me, or this isn't going to affect me as much as everybody else says it will. We can't do that, dude. We're running out of time. We are in a limited window right now to take action. And also, like, getting involved on climate is, like, incredibly easy. You have to use your voice. That's what this campaign has taught me. Like, everybody's got a voice. Maybe you don't believe in climate. I mean, okay, you do believe in climate. You don't believe that you can make a meaningful contribution to help stop climate change. Fine, but you can go talk about any other issue you want. There's like so many other things you can take on that isn't just climate, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's all sorts of things we need to fix. Climate is one of those things. I just happen to suddenly take a big interest in it.
Yeah.
But I know folks who are doing incredible work on all sorts of issues. And I think the collective efforts of youth across this country is what's going to push it forward, not just in climate.
100%. That's awesome. And I think that this is something that Abe said in that episode. He was talking about how he feels very privileged to be working on issues like climate, because he says in areas that are less fortunate or less privileged than, say, a country or a society as developed as Canada is, they don't have the ability to focus on climate change because they're worried about like wars or starvation and these bigger issues. But I think it's just a sign of how well we have it here that we're now, I didn't come up with this term or the way of expressing this, but I had a friend tell me it's like we're now fine-tuning the smaller, I guess, leaks in the country's institutions or in the country's systems. So there's these, obviously we don't have to deal with things like starvation or like war, but now we've gotten to the point where we can really make sure that we are seamless and solid in all these other things like climate change and other issues that you were talking that your friends are a part of. So
yeah, it's so inspiring, dude. Like, just I didn't know how easy it was to just do cool stuff, but literally just look around you, find organizations around you that are interested in stuff that you're interested in, and just jump in.
Yeah.
It really is that easy. And I've learned, a lot can come out of that. But yeah, as you were saying, we need all hands on deck. I really believe that Gen Z, as psycho and terrible at like picking trends, we're gonna be okay. We're gonna be the ones to fix stuff.
Awesome. That's sweet. Something I want to talk to you about. I don't know how much time we could get carried away here. We could probably talk about it for hours. I was heartbroken that Matthews did not reach 70 goals.
It's the most Leafs thing ever.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope that it gives him a chip on his shoulder to maybe go and prove everyone wrong, get the Stanley Cup instead.
Oh my God, can you imagine?
My
My dad was born in '67,
really?
which was the last time the Leafs won the Cup, for those of you who don't know. So he's never seen them win. he'll probably die before he sees them win. Oh my God. Do you remember where you were when Tavares scored in overtime Game 6
Of course.
last year?
Where was I? I was in my basement with my friend. Colin.
It was special, eh?
Oh, yeah.
I was smiling from ear to ear for like a week straight.
What a moment.
It was like, that game was like, it could cure depression.
Yeah, absolutely. So now we're coming up against Boston.
Yeah.
Some PTSD there for Leafs fans. But I think they're going to be okay.
I think if you want to understand the magnitude of this series, you have to go back to like 2018, 2019 when they lost in 7 to Boston.
Yep.
You have to go back to the amazing collapse in Game 7, 2013,
Yep.
which was like my first memory of being a Leafs fan.
Yeah.
Like I there's bits and pieces I remember from before, but like playoff wise, I remember it was like 4-1 with 10 minutes to play. And my mom was like, okay, Ottavia, go to bed, they're going to win. So I went to bed. 10 minutes later, Ottavia, come down, they're going to lose. It was special. But, and then also like at the same time, like that team in 2013, the Leafs, we shouldn't have even taken them to 7. We should have been swept.
Yeah.
Like at least this year, this team has a shot.
Yeah.
Like maybe I shouldn't be positive, but I'm going to be. Like Boston's center depth is not where it once was.
Yep.
And we've got Matthews, we've got Tavares, we've got Max Domi who can play center if he wants, or he can play wing. What's his face? Holmberg.
Yep.
These guys, like I think we stand a chance.
I agree. I completely agree. And I mean, this is the problem with me is that I say the Leafs are going to beat Boston. I think it's going to go to 6. I think the Leafs can take them in 6. Mm-hmm. But the issue is that I always underestimate Boston. Year after year, I expect them to drop out of the playoffs because all their players are aging. And Bergeron's not there anymore, and Marchand's a captain this year, and they're getting older, and then Pasternak ends up carrying the team. And it's like, I don't know, maybe I'm delusional because all Leafs fans are, to a degree, delusional. But I don't know. I think that they made a step last year. They got out of the first round, and it just seems like a backward step wouldn't make sense. I just can't see it.
They were saying the same thing about Tampa last year too, right?
Yeah.
They were like, no one's going to stop Tampa. They know how to win cups. And then we beat them.
That's right.
So you never know. But let's lock it in, homies. Leafs in 6.
Absolutely. There you go. Big prediction. I'm in a hockey pool with my family, and I came 3rd place this year. But now we're starting another one for the playoffs. And it's hilarious, the trash talk that takes place. I tried to call my uncle today because I'm against him in the first round for the playoffs. He was at work, obviously, he couldn't answer, but we had a good banter back and forth. Do you do any of this like hockey stuff with your family? Like, is your family deep into it?
I wish. My mom and my brother couldn't care less about
that's
hockey.
tough.
My dad loves it, so we just talked with him, and like, I don't know, I don't really have friends who care about the Leafs that much. I noticed there's like a big Raptors thing.
Yeah.
Maybe at other schools, but like at U of T especially, people love the Raptors.
Yeah.
And good for them because they sucked this year. Oh my God, you are a saint if you watched all 82 games this year of like Scotty Barnes and scrubs.
That's hilarious. That's fair. What about the other guy? What about Grady? Is he good?
Oh, him. I haven't watched.
Yeah, no,
I don't know.
Me neither.
I assume he got picked high in the draft. Are we getting like a lottery pick this year?
That's
like
a
what's
great
going on? Are we gonna
question.
get that 7-foot tall giant from Purdue?
Yeah, hopefully. I don't even follow the Raps that much.
Yeah.
I'm full on into hockey.
One of my regrets is that I wasn't paying enough attention to the championship run.
Right.
In whatever that was, 2019 or whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like if I enjoyed that more, I would be less sad about the Leafs never winning anything.
Yeah, that's fair. I was pretty dialed into that series, but I fell asleep in the last 10 minutes of the championship game. So I didn't see them close it out. I think I missed
The
Kawhi
worst
raising the
possible
trophy.
time to
I
fall
know.
asleep.
Terrible.
And you did it.
That's life, right?
What has U of T taught you, man?
Sorry?
What has U of T taught you?
I know, it's a mess. I think that, okay, I want to ask you a U of T related question.
Yeah,
We'll
sure.
still talk about sports. What is your sleep schedule at U of T?
It's not great.
It's not great?
It's not great. My procrastination has gotten worse. Basically,
Fair.
all of my like the reduced effectiveness of my study habits and my sleep schedule is pretty much all because of COVID. It really like took a bump and everything. And I think I'm really only starting to fix it now, like in my sophomore year. I've had some really tough courses. Everybody says English courses are easy. They're not. There's no bird courses here, I don't think. Every course I think is trying to push you in some way. And you just happen to be extra smart at a particular thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's getting better. I will say, I would like to be an early bird again. I used to be as a kid. I had my high school started at 8 a.m.
Wow.
Yeah, and I would get up at 6 like an idiot. I did it for like 5 years. It was crazy. And now I can barely roll out of bed at like 10 in the morning.
Yeah, yeah. How long was the commute from your place to your school? Where'd you go to high school?
I went to, should I say the name?
Yeah, sure.
Or just, I went to Pocock, which is like Tompkins, and I don't know, I'm bad at directions. But it was a Catholic school. Okay. So, I don't know, did you partake in that endeavor?
My high school was in Brampton, so it was really close to Mississauga.
Right.
I was just wondering if it was anywhere I might have known, but I'm not too sure.
No, unfortunately, no, because the Catholic school system is a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
It is very interesting, and there's lots of trauma I can recount. Actually, we'll save it because it's not that interesting. I don't know how many stories about the book of Job people want to hear. But, yeah, and then I did that for 5 years, and now I go to UTM. I should mention I'm at the Mississauga campus. So it took me like 2 hours to get here where we shoot in this mysterious location. But yeah, I live like 5 minutes away from UTM, so it's easy. It's like, 5 minutes by car, an hour by bus. Yeah. Let's make that distinction clear.
Absolutely. That's true. And so for me, for my high school, because I'm from Orangeville, and the travel to Brampton, like you said, is not just a straight drive. If I was just doing a straight drive, it'd be like 40 minutes. Yeah. But with the bus, you pick up other kids, you kind of swerve around. It's like an hour and a half drive for all of my high school years. And the same thing happened when I was, so like on the way there and on the way back. So I was spending 3 hours a day on the bus, just kind of chilling. My brother tried to do homework, but since it's so bumpy, his handwriting would go all over the place. But even when he would try to sleep, something that would happen, he tells me he had like nightmares on the bus because he'd do a lot of sleeping, obviously. We wake up at 6, probably same thing, 6:30, maybe a little later than you did. But 6:30 a.m., get on the bus, and it was a short bus too. But he was able to lie his legs from one seat to another because there was literally no students there. It was it was a small bus, but there was even fewer students. It wasn't full. So he was able to lie down on one of the seats and then extend his legs to the other side. So he had a bed with a little gap in the middle, which is where the hall is for the guys to walk down. He always would wake up like when we'd stop because he'd worried that someone would come on and step on his knees and break his legs. Such an irrational fear, but it was pretty funny. Yeah.
Were you on that bus with him?
I was on that bus with him.
Well, so you could have punched those losers in the face, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. If I wasn't asleep too. Yeah, exactly. But we got into an accident in the bus, which is something that he still is has his own version of PTSD from. Anytime my parents hit the brakes hard in the car, like if we're driving with my dad, for example, if he slams on the brakes, his heart starts racing because it was a complete mess. I used to have a YouTube channel, and I made it when I was in high school, when I was in elementary school, I made a video about, we got into a bus crash and it was a complete mess. It was snowy. Our bus driver was new. I think it was her first year driving buses, spun out on some black ice, hit an electrical pole. And there was, once again, only 6 of us in there. Everyone was fine. But what an experience that was. Just some school bus stories for you.
So how many views did you get on that?
It's probably more than VoV. Yeah. It's just weird. I look back
at real.
I know, yeah. I look back at my old channel. I'm like, how did 12-year-old me outperform 20-year-old me? This is not good. I guess it was just, that was my main priority, whereas now obviously U of T is my main priority.
Was it on the news, that crash?
Good question. Should have been. No, it wasn't. Yeah. But they had the police come. They had a separate bus to pick us up, and they offered for the same driver to drive the bus, and the students were kind of like, maybe get another person.
Yeah.
She might be a little bit
Hell,
nervous.
if you could have driven it if anything.
I could have,
Yeah.
I guess so. At 16, I did. I'm sure
Did
I
you
had
have
my
your
license.
G1 then?
Maybe G1. Yeah, only G1.
You know, I'm not mad that I can't drive.
No,
You know, it's driving scares me.
that's
Like,
fair.
how do you stay within the lines? Like, it's a mystery to me.
You say you wish or you don't wish that you'd be driving. You're okay not driving. Is that because you don't want to?
Because I can't see.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, we'll get into it. What the hell? We'll talk about it. I have low vision in my right eye, and I have low vision in my left. So I guess the way I would describe it, it's like I'm kind of wearing a Johnny Depp eye patch here,
Yep.
and then like there's like a toilet paper roll stuck to my eye here, and it's like all tunnel vision. Yeah, so if I take these off, I mean, actually, you want to put these on if you want, but I don't think.
I can try, yeah.
If you want, it's like
Yeah,
an
let's
acid
see.
trip.
What does it look like? Because I have contact lenses, so my vision's not perfect either, but I'm not exactly sure. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Wow.
Who needs acid when you have me? Oh boy. Anyway, yeah. So basically, I can't drive even if I wanted to, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
it's
Especially in
think-
Toronto.
yeah, and I think just like public transit in general just kind of rules.
Yeah.
You know, like I think if we invested more in reliable service and all of that, you know,
Maybe some police. Or no, you don't think so?
Well, maybe there wouldn't be so much police if people weren't convinced they could evade fares, right? Like, what if we just got rid of fares? You know?
Free.
Yeah.
Free TTC.
Like here's my take. You know, Metrolinx keeps raising prices of fares, right? And the quality has not itself raised either. So you're getting a very unbalanced scale between the two, where profit is prioritized over the people taking the transit.
Got it.
And I don't know how we're gonna fix that. I'm not a policy wonk. You know, I'm sure there's like reasons why. What's her name? Olivia Chow.
Yeah.
Forgot the name of the mayor. I'm such a Torontonian. I'm sure there's reasons why she's not doing it. But like, can we eventually get to a place where transit is about as popular as like taking the 401, right? Like, there's no reason why we should have big freaking highways across the city. Like, not only are they an eyesore, they're just like, transit's cooler. I love being on the GO train.
Yeah.
It's so underrated. It's smooth. It's fairly quick. There's like people with like Jace hats all around me and are talking about like the worst baseball takes you've ever heard in your life.
Yeah.
And it's a vibe. You know,
hear ya.
I think we have to do more to fix transit in this city and like everywhere. Like I know like in Japan and Europe, like trains are amazing there.
Yep.
Like why can't we bring that here? What are we doing?
That's
Maybe
that's
I'll
a
be
good
dead
point.
by the time we get like high-speed trains, but as long as we get there, you know, I don't have to be alive to enjoy it. I'll be like up in the sky, like saying "woohoo, bullet trains."
That's awesome. Yeah, I think you actually might be onto something, because I think I heard the reason that the U.S. and Canada, these places, don't have the same high-speed bullet trains that they have in Japan is because of the oil industry. They have their hands kind of in whoa, none of this, because it's going to destroy everything that we have going on here.
Big oil.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not like, I respect the stuff you do with climate. I'm not like, I don't know much about climate, but I completely believe that there's some guys out there that have their hands in it to prevent something that could benefit society, make sure it doesn't happen.
You know what's really funny is like, I'll see like job postings on LinkedIn all the time for like internships at Shell.
Yeah.
Who wants to intern at Shell?
Yeah.
That's like the worst PR move ever. I would like, that's career suicide, dude.
I hear you.
I'm never like, I feel like part of me just wants to like send in my resume and cover letter and just in my cover letter write, "You guys stink, but please hire me anyway. I need money."
One of my good friends from high school goes to UTM as well. Maybe you know him. His name's Dhruv Faguni.
Is this that rapper guy?
Yes.
It's so funny. I don't know him, but I don't know, for some reason he had a post on his story with this podcast mic. And I was like,
yeah.
oh, cool, a podcast. When can I hop on? He was like, soon. And then a couple days later, he was like, oh, by the way, I have music out. I'm a rapper. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
oh, no, I can't rap for hell.
So have you talked to him?
No,
Or-
like, I don't even know this guy.
This is just something you saw on his Instagram.
He's like a dude that, like, you say his name and people know who you're talking about. He has that kind of reputation about him, I would say.
Got it.
But he seems like a good guy.
Nice.
Shout out to
Drew.
Yes, thank you.
Shout out to
Shout out to
Drew.
Drew.
I had no idea.
We're gonna meet up one day. I'm gonna get on your podcast, your non-existent podcast.
There you go. That's hilarious. But yeah. Anyways, he goes to UTM, and you brought up the deer because he
Yeah.
told me he's like, yeah, we're like right beside a forest. Is that true? Is
Yes,
that what
it's like completely enclosed in forest.
yeah.
And in the fall, it's gorgeous, man. It's like every tree is like the color of your sweater.
That's crazy.
It's cool. I think. Oh, you know what's fun? Whenever I'm at St. George, I love just walking through Queen's Park for no reason.
Yeah.
Just the vibe.
Right.
I don't know why. I'm sure like kids here hate it. I think it's great. I will do all the touristy things whenever I'm in Toronto. I don't even care. I love it here.
Yeah.
I am completely delusional in my assertions that I want to move here after I graduate and get a job here,
Yeah.
even though there's nowhere to live. But like, come on, there's like 140 neighborhoods in Toronto, and you're telling me that they can't make 1 inch of space for me? I'm 5'4".
There you go. That's a good point. But like, what other comparisons? Like, how much time have you spent on St. George?
I would love to spend more. I think, okay, I'll give you the tea. I may be transferring here in the fall.
Nice.
So you're not going to get rid of me just yet.
Fair.
And I think the community here is really great.
Yeah.
You know, I've met lots of really great people here. I was at Heart House, if you know them. Yeah, you know them, right?
Yeah.
They do this leadership retreat every summer, like in June or July. And I applied and they accepted me, and it was like the coolest day ever because I met all these incredible people from across the St. George campus who are just doing the most wonderful things and have such good hearts. And like, I think so much of the appeal, like this was my dream school growing up. Like I cried when I got into U of T.
Yeah.
I know it sounds ridiculous now. Like if I knew what I know now, I don't know if I would come here. I'd probably go to what is that saying? If you can hold a fork, you can go to York.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I do that. But I think so much of the appeal for St. George to me was like the reputation and like the buildings. I love walking across Vic. I got off at Museum to get here. I'm walking through whatever street this is called.
Charles.
Street. Yes,
Yeah.
Charles. And I'm walking through. I'm like, where's the dining hall? Where's the place I have to meet Carter? And it's like dining hall after dining hall. I'm like, when does it end?
Yeah.
Like there's so many kids here.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's very nice, and you know what's actually kind of sad part about it is that you get used to it and you don't notice it as much when you actually are here.
Fair.
You know what I mean? Like the first time I ever laid eyes on the main Victoria College building, I was like, what this is crazy. But now I walk past it every morning and it's just there. it's
like,
so disappointing.
It's like any other office building.
Yeah, literally, right?
My favorite type of Torontonian are the people rapping in the subways.
Oh yeah. I've not been able to encounter those enough. Yeah.
You're not missing out.
Okay, fair enough. So they're your favorite just to have a laugh then, not for the actual music.
It's so difficult to keep a straight face when you're around these people.
Got it. Yeah, that's fair. I saw a thing about what was it? I forget what exactly the video was they were talking about, but influencer culture has kind of destroyed some cities in the sense that you can't leave the house without getting on some dude's TikTok.
Is that so?
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm scared.
I think Toronto's pretty safe, but when you get down to like these cities in California, like LA and
so not here.
Not
so
as
I'm
much.
good.
I
safe.
think you're okay to
good.
transfer. Yeah. This is the kind of thing though, is that when it comes to this, because like I've had advice from people be like, you should interview students at U of T or like do pranks, and I'm like, I'm not trying to like degrade the quality of life in this city and at this school. I prefer the cameras to be on when people know the cameras are on instead of kind of getting ambushed with it.
Yeah.
That seems like a bit of a break-in on privacy to me. But
oh my God, definitely, dude. And I think like you found your niche. You know, I feel the imposter syndrome is really hitting me today. I don't feel adequate enough to come on here.
No.
Like the fact that like you bothered to like take some rando from Saga and bring her on is really cool. And I just think like the diversity of folks here is cool. Have you considered like streeters?
Considered what, sorry?
Have you considered like doing streeters?
I don't know what that is.
Like when you go out on the street and you ask people questions.
Yeah, that's the thing I kind of
Yeah,
thought
you
about.
want to avoid it. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
fair. Yeah, I don't know. I think what you're doing is fine. Like, how many other podcasts are there at U of T?
That's a
Like,
good
part of
question.
why I found you guys in the first place was because this was the only podcast I found. You're like constantly like in the comments of like all the major meme pages.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, this guy's putting in the work to get promo out.
Oh yeah.
So, I don't know. Should I start? No, I wouldn't start a podcast. I'm not extroverted enough for that.
You seem good.
Oh, thank you. But it's I've gotten to a point where like I'm proud of myself that I can have these conversations with you.
Yeah.
This isn't easy for me. I'm not an extrovert in the slightest.
Yeah.
But I think just like again, like we were talking about earlier, stepping outside of your comfort zone, doing stuff that scares you. This scares me.
Yeah.
I don't know you. I met you an hour ago.
Exactly.
And we're like besties now.
There we go. Absolutely. Bonding over the Leaf downfall that is soon to come. But hopefully not. Yeah, hopefully not. I think the main thing, first of all, you've supported the podcast a lot. There's accounts, there's like usernames and stuff that I recognize who like posts very often. So when I see that, I'm like, okay, this person, because like it's hard to base your results of the podcast just on like followers and this kind of very numerical things. It's like how many of these people actually watch. But you've been very supportive just in the terms of being there and liking many posts to a point where I recognize the account. And obviously when I scroll through your stories, there's personality there, so I'm like, this could be a good guest.
I wasn't always doing that.
Yeah.
I think since I started going to UFC, it was like, you know what, I'm gonna just start being me.
Yeah.
Hopefully people appreciate my sense of humor and my constant Taylor Swift screaming about. Have you heard the album yet?
I've not heard.
You're not a Swiftie, right? Yeah, that's fine.
I'm not,
I get
unfortunately.
I get it. It's wild because I feel like I'm the only Swiftie left who can tolerate being around people who don't like Taylor Swift.
Okay. Yeah, I hear you.
I think if you don't like her, that's okay. You can like whoever you want to like. Olivia Rodrigo rules. Sabrina Carpenter is great. Like there's so much great stuff happening in pop music right now. Just don't listen to Gunna.
Gunna the rapper?
Yeah.
What's wrong with Gunna?
He has that song, Fukumin or whatever.
Okay.
It's like the worst thing you've ever heard in your life.
Yeah.
It's like two-note melody, the most out-of-tune flute loop you've ever heard in your life.
Fair.
I don't get it, man. But like, yeah. And another thing I like about Gen Z, we're genreless. We don't care about fitting into boxes.
Yep.
I love Billie Eilish, and I love Deftones, and I love Eric Church, the country artist, and Morgan Wallen stinks. Don't listen to Morgan Wallen.
I was listening to Morgan Wallen yesterday.
I should just give you all the music takes if you want.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's get
Name me
into
some people. Let's rapid fire this.
Okay, well, I will say, I'm going to give you some of my artists.
Okay.
The best. Normally when you give an opinion, you say my favorite, but when the cameras are on and you want to create controversy, you just make it objective and say, here is the facts, and people get mad. Okay, so I'm going to do that. The best female artist today is Ottavia Rodrigo.
Oh, you're asking me if I agree?
I'm saying that.
I mean...
And then maybe you can give a take if you agree or disagree.
Yes. She's great. She really spilled her guts on guts. I'm trying to, in my head, I'm trying to think, controversy. And I can't get there.
You don't need to fake the controversy.
I'm too nice.
Okay. Yeah, you're good. But yeah, no, I think I normally don't like, you have a bit of a need to, be super masculine, macho man, and like talking about Ottavia Rodrigo makes me look like a bitch. But I think she has an angelic voice. Anytime, it doesn't matter what song it is. She covered a song by Noah. Is his name Noah Kahan?
I don't get the Noah Kahan hype. Everyone and their mother was at London and Toronto shows, and he played I think 2 nights both dates, and he brought like Shawn Mendes out. Like, I'll pay to see Shawn Mendes. Of course, I want to hear him do what's that song? That song. I can't sing, but. I'll pay to watch Shawn Mendes. Like I had a crush on him when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Noah Kahan, like, it's just mid. I don't get it. I'm sorry. You're getting the takes that you asked for, Carter.
Yeah.
I don't like Noah Kahan.
That's fair.
Kahan. I'm I'm not sure how you say it. I'm sorry, Noah. But, yeah, it doesn't appeal to me. I think the Mumford and Sons kind of folk thing is just not my thing. I think there's more you can say with just a foot clap and a stomp.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, he's a good singer. He's a good songwriter. It just doesn't mesh for me.
That's fair. That's completely fair. We'll take a quick break for the cameras to cool down and then jump back into it.
Being in 8th grade when Drake was at like his commercial zenith with Views from the Six was a moment. Oh my God. Everybody was calling me OT after the One Dance song. You know that part where he's like, never much love when we go OT? Everybody started calling me OT, and I was like the most popular girl for like a week.
Nice.
And which had never happened to me before. I shot up from the bottom of the food chain to the top.
Yeah.
It was fun.
That's
I miss
hilarious.
those days. I peaked in elementary school.
That's hilarious. I think a lot of people can relate. My favorite year was grade 8, right before we left, because my graduating class was 5 kids in elementary school, because it was such a small school. It was a French school in Orangeville. So it was me and 4 other dudes. There's no girls in our grade. So we graduated, 5 of us. We had our whole ceremony, literally the 5 dudes sitting there on the chairs. But anyways, what was my whole point about
Parlez-vous
that?
français?
Oui.
Let's go.
Yeah, no, I'm fluent.
I was in French Extended, if you know what that is.
Okay.
For like, it's like kind of half French, like not core but not intensive, and then half English classes. And I did that for like 8 years in elementary school and high school, and then I graduated and I forgot everything.
This is the problem I'm having.
Everything. I need to jump on Duolingo stat.
Yeah.
And I just don't have the patience.
That's fair.
The Duolingo owl, that's what a green mascot.
Yeah.
I hate that guy.
I hear you.
He's so annoying. I don't even know him. He's a stranger to me. He's never met me in his life. I'm afraid of him.
Yeah.
He's like the Elon Musk of app logos.
Okay. Are you afraid of Elon Musk in real life?
Who isn't?
Okay, that's fair. He has a lot of power. He does.
No podcast exists without at least some mention of Elon Musk.
Of course.
Everybody's got to talk about this guy.
Shout out to Elon. But
Elon, if you're watching, can you like give it up? Like, who is calling it X in this economy? Grow up. I'm still calling it Twitter until the day I die. You can write it on my tombstone. I called it Twitter. Okay? Grow up. Stop ruining everything. And your stupid Hyperloop thing, that's just trains. Think of something new.
Ottavia coming after the richest man in the world. If he sees this, I would be very scared if I were you. I would be very scared. Elon, I love you. Please don't come after me. She said it. All right. Next topic before we get our shit banned off of Twitter. Yeah.
Oh, we're talking about Twitter?
Talking about X, Twitter.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it. I would join Twitter when I was 10 years old.
Oh, okay.
It permanently scarred me. Don't join Twitter at 10 years old.
No.
My problem, Carter, was like I couldn't connect with kids my age.
Yeah.
Like even now, because I'm neurodivergent, talking to adults has always been easier to me than talking to kids.
Got it.
And I can't really explain why. It's just kind of my vibe. I think like girls, they're hard to crack, man. We are difficult.
In what way?
We're more mysterious.
Okay.
I think guys are cool because, like, I don't know. I keep being friends with like nerdy guys. I don't know why, but I guess they just seem to like that I'm a nerd too.
Okay.
And whereas I think if we put less emphasis on like Instagramming every perfect moment of our lives and like less time on performing femininity, we would be better off.
Less time what, sorry?
Performing femininity.
Okay.
I'm not sure how you say that word, but I'm
No,
going to say it anyway.
yeah. But what does that mean, performing?
Like, I don't wear makeup.
Okay.
I don't care much about, like, fits.
Got
Like,
it.
I have friends who do the most insane fit checks, and I love it for them, but I personally cannot commit to looking great.
Got it. Me neither.
I don't know. It's always been a problem of mine. Like, when I was leaving the house this morning, I was like, what do I wear? What do podcast people wear? You know? I was like, I don't have any Lululemon pants to show off.
Got
you know
it.
those Lululemon podcast pants that went viral a couple years ago?
I had no idea there was podcast
You should get yourself
pants.
a pair of those, bud.
Are they for women?
Actually, I don't remember.
Okay.
Probably for both genders.
Okay.
I don't. Yeah.
I hear you.
I'll
I hear
keep
you.
it there.
I
But
hear you.
anyway,
I think that men talking to guys is more direct and it's a little more straightforward. So
Yeah.
when you say that like girls are mysterious or women are mysterious, I think it's just because maybe the conversation style, you kind of have to do a bit of this instead of just like straight lines.
I mean, obviously for you it's gonna be different because you're coming at it from an angle of like this random like dude from Orangeville,
Okay.
and I'm like this girl who like was like not talking to anybody until like the 8th grade,
Okay.
and so yeah, I think my angle on like conversing to people is really different from other folks. I've had to approach it in a really like almost scientific way. Like humor has saved my freaking life.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm talking to you today is because I realized that people like it when you're likable.
Yeah.
People like it when you're funny.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, how am I going to do this? And I would like sit at home and watch like the Rick Mercer Report, if you know what that is.
Yeah.
And 22 Minutes, the greatest show on television, and SNL, and it's such a lifesaver, you know? If you like connecting with people isn't really as difficult as I always think. I know I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I'm sure there's folks at home watching this and thinking, who is this girl? Like, get off my screen. And there's other folks who are thinking, oh, she's great. And thank you for thinking that. But, you know, where was I going with this? I rambled too much. I'm sorry, Carter.
You're good. You're talking about humor.
Yeah, humor is great. You know, I think it is a device. And we're talking about AI, right? About how AI can't write jokes. Like, it's part of what makes us human, right? Our ability to find laughter in things that it might not always seem so funny.
Yeah.
In serious things, in political things, right? And so, like, that's why satire is so appealing, right? That's why what's his face? John Oliver, who is like the most brilliant guy on the goddamn planet, that's why he's so famous, because he gets at the root of issues that otherwise are very serious and annoying.
Yeah.
So, anyway, my message to the people, be funnier.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I appreciate you saying that, because there are things that I'll post on this account, on this channel, where I'm being funny, I'm talking about certain things, but I'm saying it in a way that hopefully like elicits some laughter from the audience. But we've gotten to a point where a lot of people, I feel like, have taken things so serious, and they've lost this ability, this human ability that makes you unique to laugh in the face of some traumatic event. Obviously, there's right timing. The people on SNL are smart. They know right timing. They're not going to make a joke about a sensitive issue the day after it happens. It's different.
I mean, they do that too.
Do they? Really?
Remember when George Santos got like expelled from Congress?
No.
And then like Bo and Yang did the cold open, and he was singing "Candle in the Wind," but it was all about George Santos. It was hysterical.
That's fair.
Look it up. It's great.
That's fair. That's a little less sensitive though. Like,
yeah, of course.
If we're talking about like a war.
Oh yes, definitely. Yeah. It's you know, I think part of like learning how to do it, and like I'm not gonna say I'm like this funny psycho, because I'm not. It's taken effort, and I really have like the same 3 ways to structure my punchlines, and you've probably heard like all 3 of them already at this point.
Okay,
so,
maybe like share it if you.
No,
if you wouldn't mind.
I have no idea. It seems like I have the same formulas, right?
Okay.
And sometimes they work and sometimes they don't, but like it's part of the trying, right? Like I have homies who do stand up, and like I couldn't.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, maybe one day I will, but the fear of like bombing is like all consuming to me.
Of what, sorry?
Of bombing.
Oh, of bombing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I don't mean that like in the, you know, like I mean it in the
yeah.
what's it called? Like, you know, when you say
Flopping
something
on
and it's
stage.
just like it doesn't elicit a reaction.
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing. And that happens to me all the time. And so I think like when something I say doesn't work or is weird to people, and it happens more often than I'd like to admit, you know, I have to go back to the drawing board and think, okay, how am I going to say this in a way that is more appealing to people?
Right.
And just constantly improving on how I present myself to the world, and thinking about how I can best, you know, be myself, but not in a way that's like 99% off-putting. Like when I'm talking to you right now, dude, like I've worked on this.
Yeah.
Like this isn't a natural thing for me to do.
Right.
But I'm doing it because I trust you.
Awesome.
And I'm also kind of messed up. So we'll leave it at that.
There's another. You just throw these punchlines out of nowhere. I'm not expecting them. That's I think a huge part of comedy is that it comes out of nowhere. You start like serious, and then slowly you're speaking slower, and it's getting more serious, and then punchline. I'm also a little bit messed up.
Conan's great at that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. And I can tell you were very self-accountable because you talked about like if I fail a joke, it's not like maybe. Obviously, it doesn't feel good, but you went back, like you said, go back to the drawing board. How do I make this more appealing to people instead of just being like, this sucks, I give up?
Oh, you feel that way at the start for sure.
Right.
Like when I talk to people and like I'm trying to be me and just like make a joke about like the color of their jacket, and then they're like, okay, like you know what? I'm like, I go back to my desk. I'm like, oh my God, you're such a loser. You should never speak again. And then like I'll talk to somebody else and like they'll just like laugh and I feel good again. And so I think part of it is not only the work of you as the person like saying the thing, like trying to make it appealing to people, trying to make them laugh, but also like other people refuel your energy.
Yeah.
Right? Like having like friends even, like people who don't care if you mess up, right? Who are open to you making mistakes. Has been the most gratifying thing of my life. You know, I was a loner for a lot of my life. I still have like 2.6 friends. You know, like I'm not popular in the slightest. I shouldn't even be here. I don't do like rap. I don't hop on tracks and rap. Like I'm just me.
I'm sorry to that one friend who's only 60% of her friend.
Yeah. You know who you are. Yeah, like I think I'm just being me, and hopefully one day it will catch on with people. So
That's awesome. This is I like the positivity from you. I feel like you can feel it. It radiates. Let's circle back into hockey.
Yeah.
We have a little bit more time, but I love talking about sports. It's awesome. Some arena topics I want to ask you about. There's two. Okay. We'll talk about Toronto. First, I want to ask you about another heartbreaking thing, kind of related to Matthews. Coyotes are moving. How does that make you feel?
I don't care.
Don't care about
Like,
Coyotes.
I'm coming from this as someone who's grown up in Ontario, Toronto their whole life. Folks in Arizona, I'm gutted for them. They had their team taken away by like the most gutless, like I'm trying to think of a terrible person, Elon Musk type owner that you could possibly come up with. Like, who wants to play their games in a college rink that seats 3,000 people?
Right. Yeah.
It was completely mishandled, and I'm glad finally Gary Bettman did a good thing for the first time in his life and decided to step in and move these guys to Utah. Hopefully, and they have a good team too. Like they're gonna be good for a long time. Dylan Gunther, if you know him, he's a stud. Yeah. He can shoot it like he has like a pistol in his hand.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. I can't cheer for them because their jerseys are ugly. But hopefully in Utah they'll change that. That's fair.
There's talk that they're going to be called the Utah Yetis, which could be an interesting name.
I like that.
I think there's also a part where Leafs fans are a little bit relieved from this. Obviously, it's sad that any time a city loses their team, but there's always rumblings around like signing season when is Matthews going to go to Arizona? Is he going to leave if the Leafs don't win a cup? But now like there's no Arizona to go to. Maybe he'll stay his career. That would be nice.
I'm of the camp that thinks Matthews is going to be a Leaf for life. Yeah. And I think it's just because, like, he has homies here. You know, when Kyle Dubas was here, I call him Doobie, I'm just being weird. They were close, right? And that got at him. But then, like, you know, he has friends in Mitch and Willie and all the other guys in the room. Bieber. Yeah. Oh, my God. Who has, like, the worst fashion sense of anyone ever. Oh my God, did you see that coat he wore to the All-Star game? That was a big coat. It was like a flamingo crossed with a giraffe. Yeah. And it was just,
Looked like it was from the Lorax movie.
I know, the dude is so talented, and then he just does some things that just make me go, ugh. Like, just give you the ick.
No love for Justin Bieber.
Oh, I mean, when I was a kid.
Okay.
Oh my God, were you around for that when like One Direction and Justin Bieber were like the thing?
I was alive, yeah.
It was incredible. It was a time. There was no better time for like straight hot men than there was in 2010, 2011. It was unbelievable.
Got it.
Yeah, I was a One Direction stan.
That's good.
most people.
But
And Niall was always my favorite, just for the record, because we share the same birthday. So obviously, special people are usually born on September 13th. So
there you go. Shout out to September
shout out to
13th.
Niall.
Yeah. Okay, Niall. Yeah. So that was that problem. I saw on Instagram there was because like a lot of like each team basically has like their own fan page on Instagram, and the Leafs have this one guy, and like there's different ones that pop around. But Arizona, this guy who basically runs the biggest Arizona fan page, had a watch party, had a tailgate party for their last game, and there was like maybe 50 to 100 people that came out and who watched in some parking lot. And it's crazy. It's like, even though they couldn't make it work out just with money wise financially, for the community and for the people who are Arizona fans, it sucks to see. But
hockey definitely works in the desert.
Yeah.
And they're going to be back. I don't know in what form. Hopefully not with that loser of an owner.
Yeah.
But it's going to be back. I think like the growth of our game is so important to making it successful. You don't have players like Poppy without investing in teams in Arizona. That's
Right.
just a fact.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to Wayne Gretzky. None of this happens without him. We're not playing hockey in Arizona without Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah.
He changed everything. He's been my hero since I was like 10.
That's
So
awesome.
shout out Wayne.
That's awesome.
Did you go to that exhibit on Richmond Street? The
No.
pop-up?
No.
It was good. You didn't miss much. It's like, it's like 2 rooms of like the most like boring like 80s Yofa helmets
Okay.
that you ever see, and then you just walk out and there's like an alleyway of like dudes smoking weed.
Okay.
It's a whole thing.
That's fair enough. I did go to the Wayne Gretzky Arena. I think it's called the Wayne Gretzky or Sports Complex, something. It's in Brantford.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was that like?
It's cool. They have a whole display of like Gretzky memorabilia and like a screen showing some of his highlights, and it's kind of cool.
That's
It's just
my
super
thing.
fun. Yeah.
I'm into that.
Yeah, so it's pretty sweet. But talking about that, so that was the whole Coyotes arena situation. When cameras were off, we were talking about the Leafs arena situation and Scotiabank and MLSE and the prices there. We just saw, you like Taylor Swift, the prices for her concert in Toronto. I think the cheapest one was like $2,500 something. Crazy.
Ticketmaster should be like eliminated from the planet. I need someone to like go up and blow their servers up.
Okay.
It is unbelievable what they're doing to concerts around the world, not just in Canada, but like in the States. There was a tweet I saw about like the West End in London, like where they do musicals in England, and they were complaining because it was like €100 for like front row. €100, that's like, you could get like a bleacher seat at a concert here for €100, right? And you're complaining about like a front row seat here in England. Like, I don't like, part of like what makes concerts so incredible is like that communal experience. And to have like the people who want it the most get cheaped out from that is just very alarming to me. I basically told all my family members, there's not many, but I told all of them basically, hey, sign up for pre-sale, make sure I can go see Taylor. And then like the 6 o'clock hit when they were sending out emails, and I got nothing. Yeah. I know a girl who knows a girl who got tickets. That's the extent of my relationship. But you bet I'm going to be camping out in front of Rogers Center in November waiting for her to come out. I mean, I won't because I need to like sleep. But if I could, I would. It's so unfair. Like, it really should not be that high. Independent venues are closing because of the monopoly that Live Nation and Ticketmaster has over the concert industry, music industry.
Wow.
It's not fair. We have to save live music in Toronto, especially, like many other cities in the States and stuff. Like, this is the place for live music, and it's going down the tube. We have to invest in arts and culture, like, now. Yep. Like, because before we know it, there's going to be, like, one venue left on Queen Street West. It's, like, 200 square feet, and the only bands playing it are, like, a synth-pop band, and, like, their singer is, like, an AI hologram.
Yeah, that's fair. I have a friend named Thomas Carley. He's in a band.
Yeah, I watched that episode too.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was the first one I watched.
That's awesome.
Because I was interested in what he was talking about, because, like, musicians are so fascinating. Creative people fascinate me.
Yeah.
I'm so interested in, like, how, like, their brains tick.
Yeah.
Because me, like, when I do stuff, I just, like, I did it. But, like, other people, like, they can articulate their process in a way that I really can't. So I'm always interested in that. And, like, jazz is so weird. Like, How do people come up with this stuff?
Yeah.
How do you know when like to accent on the downbeat? You know, like
Yeah.
it's a whole thing. I don't know. Are you? Yeah, you're not a jazz person. Remind me again who you listen to. Please don't say Gunna.
I don't listen to Gunna. I listen to, like you said, our generation is genreless.
Right.
So I do listen to everything.
Yeah.
I was saying I listened to Morgan Wallen yesterday.
Yeah,
I just started listening to him a little bit, but maybe.
So you have time to give it up before like.
Maybe you've discouraged me. Maybe like before I get addicted to it, it's kind of like gambling. There was a phase of like 1 week where I gambled. I didn't really win much, and I think that saved me from being addicted. So, I got out of that window. I don't gamble
You know that story about the Raptors player the other day who got banned for life for gambling?
I didn't hear that. I thought that was a baseball player.
Okay, what about like the constant sports betting ads that you see on Sportsnet and TSN?
Oh, there's too much.
Do they
There's
bother you?
way too promotion.
Yeah,
way too much
it's
promotion.
unbelievable. Like, why aren't we regulating that?
Yeah.
Or if we are, I'm sure we are, but it should be a little bit stricter,
I agree.
Ron McLean's up at the Hockey Night in Canada desk, like, hello, everyone. Back in Newfoundland in 1854, there was this and this and that. Now we go live to the Bet365 DraftKings Sports Interaction desk with Elliot Friedman. Elliot, what's the news on the latest betting scandal in the NHL?
Yeah, literally. Because on the NHL app now, you can't even look at the scores without it showing you, or the schedule for the day without it showing you the odds. The odds are on, literally, like, it shows the teams' names, the records of the teams, the time it's going to start, the channel, and then right there, minus 125 for Boston.
What does that even mean?
Yeah, well,
like
okay.
a negative 125%
I can tell you if you
chance
want
of
to
winning?
know.
No.
Okay.
I prefer to remain, like, completely blind to all of this.
Yep,
It's
absolutely.
just, it's eating away at everything. And, like, these poor people who, like, get sucked into it and they don't know how to get out of it, my heart breaks for them because your government's failing you. Your sports teams are failing you. We shouldn't be doing this. There's more interesting ways to watch sports than just betting on, like, if Connor Bedard hits 5 posts in a game.
It's true, because it was stricter at one point. It only recently, I think only like in the past 5-7 years, they allowed it to happen so much more openly. And it's the degree to where it's gotten. It's like Wayne Gretzky and Connor McDavid are in commercials together promoting
They
this
sold
stuff.
out.
Yeah.
Every player is selling out for these betting ads that are probably like not going to exist in 5 years from now, assuming we like do something about it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't. And you were saying MLSC, another thing that makes me very angry.
Let's hear it.
Yeah. Oh, you want my take? Okay. Well, they
Yeah.
got this new CEO last week, right? Keith Pelly, I believe his name is.
Okay.
And he's saying like he's on like Overdrive on TSN if you listen to that, and he's talking. Oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do with the organization just yet. It's only my first week, and I don't really know what I'm gonna do. But we're gonna take it, one day at a time. Buddy, Keith Pelly, if you're watching this, lower the prices of Leafs games. It is in a what's the word? The A word, like an abomination that I can't get into Leafs games unless I pay like my entire life savings to get into like the 400s. What a joke! And then people ask on Twitter, they complain about like why Scotiabank Arena is so dead because the arena is full of suits who don't know how to cheer because they're busy texting their finance bureaus on their phones.
Yeah.
Like, lower it. Why? Okay, now I understand why Arizona would play in a 3,000-seat arena because it's like $20 to get in. Of course,
Yeah.
You sell out every game.
Yeah.
Here it's like, you gotta do something. Same with the concerts, like, and the transit. Lower the prices of everything.
Yeah. Make everything free.
Everything free.
Yeah. That would be a shit show. But anyways,
Man.
I appreciate you doing this. Thank you for coming on. And once again,
I can't wait to look back on this and just cringe.
You're good.
From everything I'm saying.
You're good.
But thanks for having me on. And anybody watching this, I'm very interesting and fun, guys.
Wink,
Consider me. Not saying you have to. I'm too scared to go on Hinge. I don't have enough good pictures of myself. But like, if you're watching this, hi.
Drop your Instagram. What's your Instagram?
At OHHHTTAVIA.
There you go. This fun play on words.
Ottavia.
Fun play on words.
Yeah.
I like that one. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Ottavia Paluch. What a comedian. We'll see what the reaction is. Hopefully you liked it. I thought it was great. If you are interested in coming on for part 2 next year, just let me know and we can get that running.
We'll see.
There you go.
Yeah.
Everybody, have a good week. Have a good life. We'll see you next Sunday. Peace out.